Since the Emmys are tonight and the Pitt is nominated for 13 of them, it seems like as good a time as any to talk about the lawsuit that the Pitt is facing. I know how to party. In 1974, a writer named Michael Crichton had written a script called Emergency Ward. It was going to be a movie about a day in the life of an intern in an ER, and it was based on his own experience as a doctor and his first day in the ER. Michael Crichton had the opportunity to meet a guy named Steven Spielberg, and Steven Spielberg took a shining to him and was like, yeah, I dig this script, but I really like a book that you've written, and I think we should turn that into a movie, and we can revisit Emergency Ward later. That book was called Jurassic Park. You may have heard of it. So after the success of Jurassic Park, they revisited the script Emergency Ward, and they were like, you know what, let's make this into a TV series, and let's get this guy John Wells involved. So they turned the script into the pilot of ER, and Noah Wyle played a character named Dr. Carter, who was based on Michael Crichton. And the pilot followed 24 hours in the ER. The show ran for 15 seasons, and in 2020, Noah Wyle emailed John Wells and was like, hey, I think we should do a reboot of ER. Michael Crichton had died by this point. So in 2022, his widow got an email from John Wells saying, hey, I just want you to know that there's going to be an announcement that we're doing an ER reboot. John Wells had to reach out to her because in Michael Crichton's contract, it had said that if there was any reboots or anything to do with ER, that all parties, including his estate, would be consulted and everybody had to sign off on it. The announcement that John Wells was talking about was the fact that Warner Brothers and HBO at this time had merged, and the head of all of this, David Zaslav, was going to make an announcement about this ER reboot. But the widow needed a minute to look over everything. So that announcement didn't happen, and David Zaslav was really pissed. Michael Crichton's widow, Sherry, was really upset because Michael Crichton was not going to be credited as the creator of this ER reboot. So for 10 months, they went back and forth with negotiations, and things were not going well. And then all of a sudden, 72 hours later, WB HBO is announcing this new show called The Pitt. They have this brand new show that is not a reboot of ER. It's going to be a completely different thing, except for it's the exact same concept as the ER reboot, which was going to be a show that was going to be 14 episodes. It was going to be 14 hours of life in the ER. So very similar to the original pilot of ER, but this was going to be across the entire season. It was John Wells. It was the same writer, Scott Gemmell. It was starring Noah Wyle, but instead of being called Dr. Carter, he was going to be called Dr. Robbie. And instead of being in Chicago, it was going to be in Pittsburgh. So she filed a lawsuit. Noah Wyle is up for an Emmy tonight for his role as Dr. Robbie, who is really Dr. Carter, who is really based on Michael Crichton. So I want him to win, but I also really don't want him to win.